If it's Tuesday, that could mean only one thing. It is Comic Book School Live, because on Tuesdays, we own Tuesdays. I tried it without reading the script, Mike, and I just didn't get it. Anyway, my name is Buddy Scalera, and I'm the founder of Comic Book School. And if you want to learn more about the craft and business of making comics, you have come to the right place, because here we talk about all things and the craft and business. I'm just not good at this, Mike. So I'm just going to introduce you, Mike Fasolo, my patient co-host, Emmy award-winning television writer. Mike, I need a script. Why can't I do it with or without a script?
You should be able to do it without, especially when you say things like, if it's Tuesdays, we own Tuesdays. Come on, bud. If it's Tuesdays, it's Comic Book School, or, it's we own Tuesdays and today is Tuesday. But
so Mike, see that Ruth, Ruth's okay. She's pumping me up. Mike, if it was Tuesday last week, where were you?
I was here. Where were you?
You were here?
I was here.
You weren't here for the show.
Well, I must have been on another show. Like
you have your own show, don't you?
In an alternate reality where something
there you go. Mike, Tuesdays are normal again. Mike Ponce needs this to equal him out, right? He looks for the other Mike.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, I see you wearing a robe again tonight. How are you feeling? You feeling yourself?
The robe is here. The robe is back.
What are you feeling in here?
Yeah, I was just telling you earlier. I got a little thing, a little scratchy, and it's not the facial hair. It's an inside. I'm probably gonna be dead soon.
Well, I had the COVID. I had done the episode, and my father watched the show, and he said, "Oh, I saw you on the show," and I said, "Oh, yeah," and he goes, "Yeah, that was the show. You didn't look good," and I went, "Thanks." So, yeah. And then I said, "Did you watch it when he was live?" He's like, "No. Wheel was on."
Yeah. Why bother?
Either Wheel or Jeopardy was on, and that was it. I was preempted.
Well, you weren't looking good, so he didn't want to see his son in that state.
I'd like to think that the reason Mike, are you on Earth 213?
Yes.
I don't know which one that is. So, Mike, I'm assuming that part of the reason you were not available last week was because there was a disruption in California called the San Diego Comicon.
Yes, that's exactly what was the problem.
That was part of the problem. Yeah. And, Mike, we're going to be talking tonight about how comic book creators, whether or not you've tabled, you're in Los Angeles, but that was San Diego Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
You're LA.
I'm LA. Same thing.
Same thing.
It's all one big.
You have to fly that far from the East Coast.
It's all there. Same place.
So I was thinking that tonight we would do a public service for our fellow creators and give them 5 tips, Mike, 5 tips for how to maximize. Shoot, I can't get anything tonight.
You gotta get the script
going. Tips for comic book creators. What do you say?
Why not 6?
I wrote the graphic, and then I was like, I posted it out there. I was like, I don't have 5 tips.
I only got 3.
I don't know what to do. Incidentally, I'm pretty excited. We'll talk for a minute about all the announcements that came out of San Diego. But I would really like to share some tips. Oops, that's not it. I'm going to share a screen, and I'm going to share a window, and I'm going to share this window.
Oh,
how does that look?
5 post-con tips. Nice.
Yeah, so that's a graphic for tonight. So, Mike, tonight we're going to give our creators 5 post-con tips. Now, these tips can be for people who just came out of San Diego Comic-Con, people who are prepping for New York Comic-Con, but there are conventions every single weekend that if you're a creator, you could be going to a small con, medium-sized regional show, or a large convention. But we've put together 5 great tips that will help the creators if they've tabled and exhibited, if they worked at a small press booth, or if they just walked around. What do you think, Mike?
I think it sounds great.
All right.
Let's get to tip number 1.
What's tip number 1? Okay, so tip number 1. I know this is going to sound funny, but you have to unpack. One of the things that I have found that when I go back to Comicon after having exhibited, sometimes I will literally unpack and find things that I threw inside of my con pack that I forgot to take out.
So you just come home and dump the bag in the garage and never look at it again.
It is exactly that. You get home, especially if you've had a small press table and you have booth graphics and you have something that went over your table, and then you had something that was under your table, and you had all your stock. Sometimes you get home, it sits in the garage for a couple of days. The longer it sits, the less likely it is that you're gonna. Oh, hey, Marianne. She said, "I Fasolo." I
look like a pirate.
She is a pirate. She's like, I arg Fasolo. Until it starts to smell. I have never had a suitcase begin to smell. I eat all of the food, and it's never a problem. Anyway, I think it's really important for people to remember. You have to unpack, and seriously, it wouldn't be a tip if it didn't happen all the time. I have talked to pros who I've tabled next to, and they've said, I didn't unpack my booth from last year. I literally just took it, updated it, and during the update process of getting ready for this year, they realized that they had never unpacked from the year before. So I know it sounds silly, but it's a real tip. So you have to unpack. But now tip number 2 is to sort and prioritize. Sort and prioritize.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. This is the craft and the business of making comics, Mike. So, look at this. Philip Burnett really going full pirate here, huh?
Arr.
Arr. He's wearing an eye patch as well. And he has a little.
As he should.
He has a parrot on his shoulder. I've seen him. So sort and prioritize. So you get all of your stuff unpacked. And the best thing you can do is sort what you have and then prioritize. So if something is purely entertainment, like you bought some comics or you want to read something, you put it off to the side. Then in a different pile, you have a prioritization of people that you need to follow up with. And we'll talk a little bit about follow-up, but you prioritize the people who maybe are the people who either collaborate with or might want to see your work. So when you are meeting people, sometimes you'll forget what you were supposed to be doing. But while it's fresh in your head, that first day or two after the show, you want to make sure that you're sorting all the materials and prioritizing, because it's very easy for you to keep all that stuff that you picked up, all the flyers, all the stickers, all the different shit. And all of a sudden you're not seeing anything important because of that stack.
Sort and prioritize.
Sort and prioritize. I'm going to put you back on full screen because in case you were not paying attention there.
What, me?
What?
Come on, bud.
All right. So we're gonna share the next one. So we're gonna sort and prioritize. Next tip. We're gonna analyze and fix. So when I think about the ways that I've gone to shows, I've often sat next to people who were incredibly successful at the show and also just didn't have any business. And I try to understand and learn from both of them. Sometimes you will have somebody who is doing so well and you cannot really figure out in real time what it was. So for example, last year at New York Comic Con, we tabled and there was a person who always had a line. Do you know what she was selling?
Stickers.
Stickers and lots of other things. She focused exclusively on cats. That was her thing. She made comics about cats. She made illustrations about cats. She made magnets about cats. But it wasn't just that. She had a terrific looking booth. And then I'd taken a photo of my booth next to her booth, and her booth just looked so much better. And my booth, my graphics, kind of long in the tooth, Mike.
You didn't have any cats.
Well, I didn't have any cats, but what's really important was I looked at my table and I said, it doesn't look that good. Next to somebody who is terrific, next to somebody who has a great booth, my booth looked mediocre. And this had happened for a couple of years in a row. And that was when I got my first booth standy thing where you pull it up. It's like a giant shade that you pull out of a case. And then I had gotten a tablecloth that would allowed my table to look good. And then I had gotten some booth graphics. So when you're starting to look, you can't do this the week before the show or even 2 weeks before the show. You have to really carefully plan and figure out what you want to get fixed by analyzing it. So you have to analyze and fix all the problems, and you have to be really smart about it, because having a little bit of extra time allows you to shop for prices, ask people what they like about their booth, where they got their items printed, and really more than anything, you have to fix and improve your booth every single year.
You should have shown a picture of the cat booth and your booth.
Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been good.
If only we talked about this beforehand.
Right. Well, that's right. Okay, so tip number 4. You know me. I believe that the difference. I'm gonna go back on the screen just for this. I believe that many people who are listening right now, and many people who are either breaking in or want to get to the next level in their career, are not getting there, not because they're not good enough. They're not getting there often because they don't have the business skills and the follow-up skills. I see you nodding. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yes, you definitely need to follow up. That is the biggest thing. And I'm not one that likes to, constantly reach out and bother people. But when you make a connection and you want to get into whatever it is, whatever industry, you have to follow up just to even just check in. So you got to do that. That is a must. That should have been tip number 1.
Well, this is tip number 4, because then they just get bigger and better. I will give you one other tip that I do, and I could see Mike. I could see that booth, and it was the catnip that put it over. It was catnip for fans. And for those of you who came to New York Comic-Con last year, you will know that literally their line got so big I had to shoo them away from my table. I was like, listen, yes, give her your money and get away from my table. Not that anybody was buying anything off my table, but they had done that. So Mike is sounding a bit catty, no pun or full pun intended. By the way, Ruth runs a trivia show immediately following our show, Mike.
What is the trivia show about?
It's called Com Nation, and she she says that you're the cat's meow.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
give you that.
And I became a professional cat. Ruth's like on a tear. She is just. Did you give her caffeine or something? Catty. Yeah. Hey, Peter Rugg, how are you?
Hi, Peter Rugg.
Peter, I think Peter joined us last week as well, but you wouldn't know that.
I was here. I don't know where you thought I was. I remember doing the interviews with Chaz with the exclamation point.
Chaz with the exclamation point.
And someone else.
Oh, Ruth said we'll be doing Super Pets. All right, so back to the show. So when I think about follow-up, Mike, I think many people who could be good enough to be doing professional. I was on the road, sadly. Well, we're glad that you're here, Peter. Thank you for joining us. But it's great to be here. Yeah. So following up. Now, again, I told you need to unpack. You need to sort and prioritize. You need to fix your booth. But within approximately 1 week, if it's a big show, you have about 7 days that it's very comfortable for a follow-up. Like somebody can easily say to you, yes, I remember you. Now, one tip, Mike, that I sometimes recommend people do, and I do it myself, is I take a selfie with the person.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's true. Yeah. So when I was at NFT NYC, if I was going to follow up with somebody, I would take a selfie with them so that I would remember who they were. And then when I followed up with them, I would send them the picture of the two of us, and then that would make that immediate connection. But I didn't make that up. I actually saw some people do that at New York Comic-Con when we would do creator connections. A couple people sent me their photos. They're like, oh, we met. And I'm like, they were like, we met. And then they sent a photo of themselves. And I thought, that is super smart. That's great personal branding.
Unless it was like a stealth selfie. Like where you're taking a picture of you and you kind of get them in the background and hope.
No, it's not. It's not a creeper photo. It is literally
research, bud.
Somebody showed me a neat trick. Did you know this trick? So you put your camera on, and if you want to take a stealth photo of somebody, you just keep snapping the photo because you have a camera trigger on the side of your phone,
because you
and you
think
can
they're
take pictures of
talking.
people. It looks like you're talking, but their face, like somebody showed me that trick, and I was like, that's creepy. I mean, good and creepy.
It's
Creepy and good.
genius, but it's still creepy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's genius and creepy or creepy genius, but it's a good tip. No, I get selfies of people. Now, Mike, we've talked a number of times about follow-ups, and one of the things that people may not have experience with is business writing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've shown this in other shows, and we're going to show it again. And the reason we're going to show it again is because people should feel very comfortable making a screenshot of this and then adapting it for their work. So let's just take a quick look at it. Stalk your idols.
It's not stalking, it's research.
It's fandom. I have an Instagram fan page of you. You do? Okay, so to whoever from you. Now, in this case, this was made for NYCC. It could easily be San Diego Comicon. It could easily be a regional show. So it's dear whoever. Now, if you want to include your photograph, it's totally fine, but you'll see why the links below are just as good. And I put in the subject line, NYCC follow-up. And so it's nice to meet you at NYCC, basic salutation, like, hey, nice to meet you. We connected at Creator Connection. That's one of my panels, but we're giving them some context, like how did we connect, right? We met online. We bumped into each other at this particular panel. You want to give some people context, especially people who've been there for about 4 days. It's the whole fandom until it's that, Ruth. That is so true. That's so true. And I'm not allowed within 20 yards of Ruth. I don't know if you know that.
Well, you know what happens.
Yeah. So Creator Connection, hosted by Buddy Scalera from Comic Book School. He's awesome. Now, you don't have to put that in there, but I feel like any email that has my name on it and the word awesome, right? I
was just going to say, when you mention Buddy, you got to mention awesome.
Yeah. Mike, if you checked my LinkedIn, modesty would not be anywhere found anywhere.
Humble, that's not on there.
Humble's not there. If you were to describe me to one of your friends, humble wouldn't be the first word. Quiet. Okay. So now you just say, how was the show for you? You make some good contacts, just, starting conversation. But he suggested we exchange links and samples. Like, why are you reaching out? And this could be like, hey, I told you I would send you some materials. Or, hey, we talked about a new superhero comic book that you've created. Now you just given them additional context. And then here's where I think it helps if you don't want to send a selfie and you didn't think of it. Here's my website and my Twitter, or here's my Instagram and my Twitter, because you probably will have a photo or two that will help them have some context. Please share some links and samples and keep in touch. Now, I think one of the things that's also important, Mike, is you need to assess your social profiles. Is your social profile consistent with who you want to be to these other people? Right? If you are a professional screenwriter, and you are, and you were trying to use your social platforms to enable, agents to find you and directors to discover your work, you might want a dedicated page, right? For you have an IMDb, but that's not what you use your Twitter for, right?
No, Twitter is taking pictures of my dogs. Oh no, that's Instagram. That's Instagram.
It is. You haven't shared much recently, Mike.
No, not recently. Every now and then I get on if I find something interesting, but not lately.
No, you haven't even taken pictures of those yappy little dogs, have you?
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll take one tonight. I'll post it.
Same dogs?
Same dogs.
You haven't upgraded yet? I've been coming to your house for like 10 years. The same 2 dogs.
I'm waiting to get a new breed, new bunch of dogs.
Can I recommend a pit bull? We love our pits.
Yes. Karen doesn't want a pit bull.
Well, we have pit mixes. We just get whatever is available in the kennel. We get them rescued. We have 3 dogs now.
I didn't know you had 3.
Because I don't have enough mouths to feed. We now have 3 dogs, 2 people. It is a lot, but yeah, pit mixes are great. We've adopted all 3 from kill shelters. People adopt dogs, and for whatever reason they can't take care of them, we find a home for them.
That's nice. You're a good person.
Yeah, look at that. Look, Peter Rugg too. He's got a pit here. Represent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kitties are good dogs. They are good dogs. Okay, so Mike, to stay on time and on track, we're up for our next tip. So let's pull that. And does that does this pre-written email, Mike? Do you think that this is helpful to people?
I think it's helpful. Maybe there could be something added in, like if just say you told them to get in touch with each other. Like, what are you interested? Like, if you would like to work on this comic with me or this idea, or maybe we can just trade ideas, but get something kind of going instead of just, hey, let's look at my website and Twitter. Maybe we can work on this together or something like that.
Okay.
A suggestion.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe I'll make a variation in a couple of phrases that people can, cut and paste together. What do you think of that?
I like that idea.
All right. So the final tip for people who have either just attended a con or about to go to a con and they want a good strategy for what they do immediately follow is just plan and make comics. Oh, technical term. Look at Ruth. Like, just here I was promoting her show, and here she is correcting me on my show.
She's giving you trivia.
She's giving me trivia. She's giving me guff. She's giving me Mariam will explain. Yeah, Mariam is a professional marketer, so she will explain. And Mariam just got called out too. But so, Mike, you've worked in this business a long time, and I'm sure that Hollywood has some similarities. But the number one question that you get when you meet other pros is, "What are you working on?"
Yep.
Right? And if you're not working on something, and they are, well, how does it feel?
It's terrible. Because they usually want to see something, like send me a sample. And if you're like, well, I don't have any now, but I can write something up, it's too late. When they say show me a sample, send them a sample.
I have gone to cons, Mike, where I have literally made no progress from the year before. I have the same books out. Hey, it happens. It happens to all of us. Mariam's going to explain marketing in CRM and calls to action to us. So Mariam's always on me. She's always like, "Oh, you can do this with the mailing list and the CRM." I'm like, "Yeah," and then I eat something and I forget. I doze
eat something,
off.
fall asleep.
Yeah, I just eat Twizzlers and I'm out. I think the key thing, Mike, is you're going to see lots of different types of people at cons. You'll see the person who you admire and you're like, wow, look at the great quality of their work. And then you'll look at the person who has such terrible work that you cannot believe that they got a table to exhibit it. But the thing that links them together is that they are doing work, they're producing, and they're making comics. And I think that when you see that, you can look at that person and say, well, I want to make better comics than person A, and I aspire to make comics as good as person B. I'll never achieve that, but I'm going to try. The key thing is you now have an opportunity that if you're going to the same con in 365 days, you now have a year to set a plan in motion, including getting things printed. And I would tell you, most people do not do it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big time squanderer.
Is that an actual designation?
That's
time squander, one who squanders. You got a little thumbs up on that, Mike. You're a big time squander, and somebody was like,
"Yep, that's me. I squander a lot of time, but I occasionally do get some stuff done." But yes, you should. If you have the time, you should definitely get something done so you can show it to people when they want to see it.
Yeah, and I think that we at Comic Book School, when we did the anthology and we did the 8-page challenge, the idea was to work towards a target, and that target was New York Comic Con. And in fact, the first challenge was called the Road to NYCC. We didn't know at the time that it would be canceled by COVID, but we were working toward a calendar date. And right after you end this year's calendar date, you leave the con, you got a week, you got 2 weeks. The clock is now ticking. There's only 52 weeks in a year, right? You take 2 weeks to decompress, you now have 50 weeks, right? And it's very easy to let those weeks slip by, especially as different holidays start to pop up. You've got other events. If you go to San Diego and then you go to NYCC, well, now you're squandering your time. So you have to make a plan to have something at your table for next year.
Yes, don't be a time squanderer.
Don't be a time squanderer. I feel like you should get more thumbs up than that for that one, Mike. All right, so that's it. Those are the 5 tips that Mike and I have sweated laboriously over together as a team.
Yes.
We met minutes before the show was about to start. And anyway, so I think it's very important for people to plan to make comics and have something ready for next year. Speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, I know that you're a big fan of superhero movies.
Yes.
And I said to you, what was, before the show, I said, what was the Marvel show that you were most excited for? What'd you say?
I said Shazam.
In this room, Mike, this room is merciless.
Yeah. Well, I got too excited.
But I think we're going to have to do a show, Mike. So I just real quick, I want to be able to share something because I think it's kind of important. I'd like for us to do a show on SheHulk, Attorney at Law. Now I can't run the trailer because it'll have music playing in the background, and then we'll get flagged for it. But the entire Marvel slate looks really good. I'm personally most excited for SheHulk, I think, with a close second to the Daredevil show.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Guardians.
Yes.
Wakanda Forever looks great. Like you said, the trailer was intriguing.
It doesn't.
But we were like, what are we talking about? Like, who's the Black Panther? Is that Namor? So we were a little, I would say, intrigued. Echo should be interesting. I wonder if it will take place in the Daredevil universe. It was a character spinoff. Loki. I didn't watch season 1. Did you watch season 1?
I did. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good.
It was good. Blade.
Ooh, Blade. I didn't know about Blade.
Yeah, Blade. I have to tell you, one of the first real Marvel movies. There was a couple real Marvel movies, but Blade was tremendous when it first came out.
Yeah,
I don't know what they'll do, but it looks exciting. Ironheart, probably in all ages. Yeah, it's an Ironheart. So I think it's going to be in all ages. Riri Williams, I think she is an inventor and then makes her own Iron Man suit, which is kind of fun. Agatha.
Yes, I'm waiting for that one. I like that character. She was great.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. Daredevil Born Again, like, holy cow, you have to hope that they make this a mature viewers, because I have to tell you that I can't imagine Daredevil being a PG movie on squeaky clean Disney Channel. Captain America, New World Order. I don't know if there must be a new Captain America. I can't imagine that.
It's Falcon.
But do you think the Falcon will stay? I mean, Falcon is a great character independently of Captain America.
He is, but I think he's going to be the new Captain America unless they decide to give it over to Bucky. I don't know.
No, that's interesting. I never thought of Bucky. I would imagine they start with
Thunderbolts.
I know. Remember Thunderbolts?
Yeah,
very, very
that was
exciting.
A great comic. Yeah.
Fantastic Four. Maybe the 4th time's the charm. I think
if they get John Krasinski back in as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, and that Mike Fasolo, Emmy award-winning screenwriter, as the screenwriter.
Yeah, if they would actually ask me to write any of these, it'd be fantastic.
They're going to be doing Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. Kang was never a character that I liked very much. Time Traveler. Blah, 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 blah.
You hate Time Traveler.
Yeah, so it's May of 2025. So who knows? It might even be around by then.
We could all be dead by then.
Yeah, we'd be dead by then. Avengers Secret Wars again.
Oh, that could be good.
Yeah, it could be good. It could be atrocious.
Yeah.
But I did want to note something, and I think it's worth noting. Oh, look at this! A lot of people. So get the pitchforks. I don't know what that was. And isn't Brie Larson in Shazam? Is Brie Larson in Shazam? Is she? She's Captain Marvel. I wonder if she is. Yeah, I guess Marianne was liking it, and then Anthony Mackie has taken on the Captain America mantle. So apparently Philip agrees with you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he will stay Captain America. I mean, he's a standalone. Now he's 2 characters.
I think he's more right now. He's just Captain America. He's not the Falcon. He just has the Falcon, mostly costume. But which is
Will
weird because
somebody else become Falcon then? Because he's got the Falcon, he's got the flying drones. I mean, this is a
but
good character.
without him being Falcon, he's just like a normal guy in the Captain America getup.
Wow. So Philip Burnett gave us a with 3 dots. He gave with an ellipses. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you
this. I feel like we depressed poor Philip. Like he was like.
When you watched are you wanting to see She-Hulk because of the first trailer or the second trailer?
I am. That's a good question. I'm glad you prompted me. The cast for Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
that would be good. Yes.
That's a very funny show. And Glenn, I think you should be the producer.
I can write that one too, Glenn.
They need to get those wings off of him. Right? He's got wings. He's got his.
But then he's just a guy. He's just a guy.
Yeah, Falcon's getting short shrift. Right? Like he's a good character.
He is.
Don't you think?
He's a good character, but now he's Captain America in the Falcon outfit.
Is kind of embarrassing in the cap suit to me is all. I feel like he had a whole bunch of words.
And he just put them down.
He just
jumbled up
them in there. He had a few articles and there was a verb missing. Peter, we don't know what it was, but the gang breaks the Hadron Collider. Hey everybody, let's break the Hadron Collider. Anthony Mackie has that mighty shield, right? But he's also the Falcon. Somebody built those wings and built that drone. If he becomes Cap, which I think he'd be a great Cap, and it would be consistent with the comics, somebody has to be Falcon.
Yeah, but is it going to be somebody taking his wings and Falcon costume? Because if he gives up his wings, like I said, he's just a guy in the Captain America outfit. It's not like he's super strong.
True. He doesn't have the super strength. Yeah. No, that's a good point. When he swings that shield, almost shield. Boy, Ruth's got a lot of trivia. She knows a lot of trivia.
She does that trivia thing.
Peter correct himself. Yeah, but let him just be Cap instead of splitting the difference. I agree. Yeah. And Peter admitted that he was typing. He got so excited. He was like, okay. He was just so excited. He was like, we're selecting the new Captain America. Okay. And Ruth said, I can be the Falcon. Can you imagine me jumping off a building with aluminum wings? Like how hard and fast would I hit the ground?
I would like to see that.
Yeah, because if people know me, I'm short and round. I look like a donut with legs and arms, and that's about it. So I don't think I cut the V that you need to be in order to be the Falcon. Okay, so I do want to do something. So I just want to show you something, Mike. So we have this trailer. One of the things that they did show in the trailer is they break the fourth wall. So Mike, first, what is the fourth wall?
Fourth wall is when a character in a movie or TV show actually looks at the camera, speaking to the audience, like Daredevil did, or not Daredevil, Deadpool.
Deadpool breaks the fourth wall. Yeah. Now, I don't know why they call it the fourth wall, but is this a television reference or something?
Well, it's because when you're on a movie set and you're in, say, a house, you have the side walls and the back wall, and the fourth wall is the TV.
I didn't know that.
That's the fourth wall. Yeah.
Sheesh. You should be on a trivia show. Okay. So what I thought was interesting. So in the trailer, the character plays She-Hulk, and I think the Hulk, actually, they break the fourth wall. Now, the comic book was famous when John Byrne did it. This is I actually took a few photos here. This is actually my collected edition, which I hope shoots up in huge value, so I can hoard it
sell it on eBay.
Like a geek collect. No, sell. I like to just fantasize about how much money I have. Yeah. So looks Lime MG. Looks like MJ. Okay, I liked it better when it was looking like Lime MJ.
Lime and J is good, yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go to get some ice cream, and what do you want? I want Lime MJ. I think I'll have some Lime
and J.
But she looks like MJ. Yeah, she definitely looks like MJ. During this, and even in the first issue, you can see on the cover here, the character is not only breaking the fourth wall, she's doing something very meta. She's literally holding up the cover of the original She-Hulk in which that character first appeared. And I think that was a nod, and that was something that really changed comics. But one of the things that I'd like to do an episode on, this is the first time in the issue. So Jennifer Walters is She-Hulk saying, "Oh, great, some anonymous bad guy is ready to spend $3 million to find out how tough I am, and I know how these things work. It'll be at least my third issue before I find out who it is." And then she turns, looks at the camera, and says, "Although you readers will probably find out on the next page." Now that was a very meta comic book series at the time, and it was a style at the time. I think referencing Byrne's art that looked like Mary Jane Watson, but I think this is going to be very interesting, and I'd like to maybe next week unpack some of the fourth wall elements that John Byrne presented in She-Hulk. What do you think of that, Mike?
I think it sounds like a good idea.
It does sound like a good idea. So I only liked how she would yell at Byrne. She would literally yell at the main character and criticize him for putting her in ridiculous situations, and the editor would show up. So next week, Mike, on Comic Book School Live, this is the first time we're actually planned something in advance. We will break down some of the better fourth wall breaks by She-Hulk to get our fans excited about the upcoming She-Hulk movie.
Excellent. It's a TV show.
Oh, it's a TV. Is it a TV show?
Yeah. It's
oh,
series.
I thought it was a movie. I'm
no
so
series.
sorry. I didn't
Come
realize. But maybe we should cancel Comic Book School from now on if I can't get things like that right.
It's because it's not in the script, so you didn't read it.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I thought it was going to be a movie. Actually, it's better. These TV shows are great because they have, instead of 90 minutes to tell a story, they can do 9 hours to tell a story. So
yeah, the second trailer to this really made me want to watch it.
Yeah.
The first one I was like, it looks okay, but after seeing the second one, I was like, I'm in.
So I'll just send the link here. Philip Burnett said this is Comic Book Summer School. I agree, Philip. I think that is. And then he said, since Deadpool's coming to the MCU, do you think they want to set up more meta content now? Well, it's a good question.
It's possible.
I wonder if she'll reference Deadpool.
Maybe if they did a She-Hulk Deadpool movie, it would just be all fourth wall breaks.
All fourth wall. So anyway, I put this into the chat stream so people can click on it. But at marvel.com on their website, they have all of the movies. And that's about it for us tonight, Mike. We try to stay at the 30 minutes unless we have a guest. So we're a few minutes over. But I think a pretty gosh darn informative show for our audience. What do you think, Mike?
I think it was great. Those 5 tips were spot on.
Spot on and spotless, like that robe. All right, so I'm going to put you in the green room where you can wait for a few minutes. Please keep the robe on. Last time I came in there, you were disrobed.
Well, that's what you get when you put me in
literally disrobed. So I'm gonna Mike has been informed. He knows where he needs to be. So, and you know where you need to be. Every Tuesday we will be here with Comic Book School Live, giving you the best possible programming about the craft and business of comic books. Now, as I mentioned, we'll be analyzing the She-Hulk comic book and the fourth wall elements, and talk a little bit about what that means to you as a comic book creator, if you want to consider using this technique, or if you just want to learn from it. The She-Hulk comic book was not just breaking the fourth wall. It was a lot more than that. Yes, Mike was the man of leisure for sure. He is a man of leisure for sure. Mike, they got you down, don't they?
They do.
They got you down. So thank you so much for joining again tonight. I hope these 5 tips have helped you. I will link to these on the comicbookschool.com website. Please, if you can, add a like. And if you're not subscribing already, subscribe or tell a friend. It's always great to see you, and thank you so much for contributing and being part of this. And be sure to check out some of our shows, our friend shows, including Backer Paws, Rogue Wave, and of course, right after this, Com Nation. My name is Buddy Scalera, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Okay, that's totally not it. This is it.